Julian Edelman, come on up here. Wow, this is cool. You know, if you check your program, you'll note that we don't have a corporate sponsor, and we generally do not make any kinds of endorsements or anything of that nature. Frank, this is a great hat. They ought to name it after you. In fact, this is called the Frank hat. And that's why I got it, because Frank was the first coach of the Super Bowl. Julian has 2 Super Bowl rings, but actually he has 3. I don't know how many players in the NFL won the Pop Warner National Championship and came back to win a Super Bowl championship, much less 2. But I think you have 3, and that's real cool. So I really do like this hat. Yeah. Julian made a reference to a child's book, and it really is cool. I have 3 grandsons. Flying High is the name of the book. It's beautifully illustrated, and I didn't want to let it go by not bringing it in and just showing it to you, because I think it's a good thing. Some comment was made about Julian's high energy, being a very active child. In Relentless, there's some sections about you being left with a neighbor or someone, and there was some significant damage done to that person's house. But in fact, I live down the street. I live right down the street from Mount Carmel Church. There is a desk at Mount Carmel Church that still has a seatbelt on it. So that was to help keep you there. Yeah. Julian, seriously, I think you're everybody's hero right here. We had the great pleasure of watching you play at College of San Mateo as a quarterback, but you were as much as a running back as a quarterback. And when you switched to a different position to get into the NFL, I really wasn't surprised, because you did some things as a runner when you had the ball that you don't coach. They're natural instincts. As much as you studied and watched people and learned and developed your game, you have a whole lot of natural talent. And it was just so exciting to watch you throw for 12 or 1,300 yards and run for 12 or 1,300 yards in the same season and score all those touchdowns. What I'm curious about, though, is, and what I would like to hear, when you finished playing at Kent State and your goal was to be in the NFL, tell us what you did to prepare yourself for the NFL. How did you make the transition? Because I know you worked really, really hard.
First off, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow those impressions. I don't have any good ones. So sorry, but after my junior year, I actually started looking into firehouses to potentially become a fireman, just because I didn't want to work in my dad's shop. And I went to Cincinnati and met with some firehouses and did that, and then I just didn't know what was really going to happen after, my senior year. I was a 5'10" quarterback. I never played in another position. The level of skill in my conference isn't comparable to the SEC or the Pac-12 or any of that. So, I ended up hiring an agent, and he said, "Hey, buddy, you make people miss. Why don't you train, and let's try to, after my senior year, let's try to see what we could do with this." And, I play out my senior year in college, and the British Columbia Lions from the CFL actually offered me a contract out of that. And I can remember sitting with my pops and my mother, and my dad sitting like, "Hey, this looks like some, this could be a good opportunity." And I told him, I go, when I was a kid, I didn't grow up dreaming about playing in the CFL. I dreamed about playing in the National Football League. And so that right there was the decision I had to make, or when I knew I was making the decision to transfer positions. So after that all happened, I went to this place in Cleveland, and I would wake up every morning at 5 o'clock, because Kent's 45 to 50 minutes away. I'd make my breakfast. I got this nutritionist, went to this program, make my breakfast, commute an hour, work out from 8 to 11, go back home, take a nap, and then go to night classes. And then, a couple weeks went by, and by the grace of God, Charlie Fry, he was the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, came in, and he started working out. And he eyed me down, and he put his arm around me, and he went to my rival college. So, I mean, he went to Akron, I went to Kent. Like, we hated each other. It was not a kosher relationship. But he put his arm around me, and he said, "Hey, buddy, I like the way you work. I want you to come throw with me every day at Akron after we work out here." So then I started doing that. I would wake up, go work out, then I would drive an hour and a half or an hour to Akron. Then I'd go back to Kent, and I would have the punter at the indoor facility pump me footballs, and the equipment guy shoot me jugs, and did that for 3 straight months. And, just to earn and try to get an opportunity. I wasn't invited to the combine. And, for my pro day, and I took it serious. It's kind of like the cornered animal mentality. You never corner a wild animal because, they're going to attack you. And I felt like it was, my one shot. And, I did that, and I put up some decent numbers. And I remember after that, you do your pro day, and then you start getting worked out by teams. And at that time, they had the Wildcat, which was the running quarterback thing. And Miami would come work me out as a receiver. Pittsburgh came and worked me out as a defensive back and a receiver. The Niners came, and I did their regional camp. I got invited to that. And then the Patriots came out, and they sent out their running backs coach. And so Ivan Fears comes, and he works me out as a running back, and he sees that I can get in and out of breaks pretty well. And so he goes back, and then they send out the receiver coach, and he works me out, and then they go back, and then they send out their special teams coordinator, and he wanted to see if I can catch punts and kickoffs and all that stuff. And so then they go back. Well, the next process is you get invited to the organization to go see, the upper division. You meet the GM, the owner, the head coach, all that. And I got calls from all those teams, and the Patriots didn't invite me. So naturally, I was like, man, I'm going to Miami. Heck yeah, we're going to get some sun. I'm going to get an opportunity. And, eventually on draft day, they called me in the 7th round, and I became a Patriot.
Well, you didn't get the sun, you got the snow. What's it like for a kid growing up in Redwood City, playing here at CSM, then going to the Midwest, to Kent State, and then to Boston, where you really have some weather? How did you do with that?
I think Ohio kind of broke me in with that, and then you're not going to complain when you're getting an opportunity to try to go out and live your dreams. So, I mustered up and just tried to play my best in the cold. So a personal question. Julian, are you getting enough to eat? Yeah? Okay. What's your diet routine now? How are you taking care of yourself? I actually love hamburgers. No, we have nutritionists that you work with. Do I look skinny, huh? Yeah. All right, there you go. I just tore my ACL. I'm trying to get back, No, you got the nutritionists you work with. Once you get to this whole thing, this whole level that, you try to do everything you possibly can to compete at the highest level. So, I mean, you have all that, and you eat right.
I saw something on the internet that was really, really entertaining. That was, I said, Pam, you got to come in and look at this. A limousine. This is the way it's portrayed. Okay, a limousine showed up at your place. You went down, got in the car. They took you downtown. They fixed up your hair. They shined your shoes. They put you in a tux. You know what I'm talking about. And then you walked out, and what did you lead?
I got to lead the Boston Pops, if you guys know what that is. The orchestra out there. After we won our first Super Bowl, I was given the opportunity to go and lead the Boston Pops in their final finale song, and it was a fun and pretty cool experience.
I think he's the first, and probably he will be the only member of the CSM Bulldog Athletic Hall of Fame who's a Boston Pops conductor. It looked like it was a lot of fun. Who was big in your career? I know your dad. You've talked about your dad. You could talk about him again, but John did such an incredible interview with you. Is there anything that you want to leave us with? You want to put some kind of a message out there?
Yeah. After hearing everyone's story, you obviously, you can see that a lot of people had a huge role in everyone in here getting to where they've got. So, I can remember, Coach O, he was a huge part of my journey, and still is, and part of my foundation. Coach T, my guy before games, was always motivating me, always doing some crazy things to get me all jived up and stuff. So that was big. Any level I got to, I would always latch on to a coach. And it's because I had my coach growing up, and that was my father. So, it was one of those things where you need people to get to where you're at, and surrounding yourself with good people and people that you want to be like in a good manner is a huge, crucial part of success. And, you got to believe, I guess. You just got to believe.
Julian, you've been relentless. We're very proud of you. And let me say, when you achieve a certain level of fame, everybody wants to have a little piece of you. And I got to say how wonderful it has been interacting with you and your family. We're so glad that you're here. We had to time this event after the Super Bowl and before spring training. And there's probably 1 week when we could fit this together to possibly try to get John Miller and Julian Edelman into the CSM Athletic Hall of Fame. And thank goodness everything fell into place really well. I'm sorry that the evening went long. I think the evening was fun. I certainly enjoyed the heck out of it. I thought it was wonderful, and I congratulate you and wish you the best of luck in the future.
We got to give it up for my guy, Dilly Dilly, over here. We got to give it up for Dilly Dilly. Spectacular. very witty, very, very charming. And no, congratulations to everyone. It's an absolute honor to come back and hear the stories and see the people that have helped you get to where you're trying to keep on going. So you got congratulations and good luck to all the other ones that are trying to get up in there. So thank you guys.